Franklin D. Roosevelt and the New Deal. What was the New Deal? The New Deal was a series of programs, public work projects, and financial reforms and regulations. The New Deal helped with needs for relief, reform, and recovery from the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt had a pledge, and that pledge was to help the forgotten man at the bottom of the economic pyramid. Franklin started most of his programs during the New Deal, like the 3 R's: relief, reform, and recovery. So when you say it. Who did the New Deal support? Farmers, unemployed, youth, and elderly. The majority. The New Deal produced a political realignment, making the Democratic Party the majority, as well as the party that held the White House for 7 out of the 9 presidential terms from 1933 to 1969. With its faith and liberal ideas. The Republicans were split, with conservatives opposing the entire New Deal as hostile to business and economic growth, and liberals in support. The main purpose of the New Deal was the programs focused on what historians refer to as 3 R's: relief for the unemployed and poor, recovery of the economy back to normal levels, and reform of the financial system to prevent a repeat depression. Unless you want to watch the video. Or can I just leave it up on your computer?
You can play it.
I hope it has some. I just remember there being 2.
Okay, so part of FDR's New Deal, well really I should say the beginning of the New Deal, was the day that he was inaugurated. After his little speech on the balcony of the White House where they do the swearing in, he took his cabinet members and even one of the chief justice or one of the Supreme Court justices, and they had a closed door meeting. And he said, we have to save this country. And for the first time in history, pretty much everything was set aside except, lawmakers ignored everything except saving the country. They were all solely focused on that one mission. So the first thing he did so when he took office, pretty much every bank in the country was closed down. No banks were open because of what I explained earlier. Within 8 days of taking office, he reopened thousands of banks. So he made his secretary treasurer draft a bill that would provide some security for people. The Treasury Department got busy printing new money because that was part of the problem, that there wasn't enough capital. And within 8 days, a huge percentage of banks in America were open again in just 8 days. After those first 8 days, Congress, so the next 100 days are known as the first 100 days, the most important 100 days of any presidential term. So in his first 100 days in office, FDR did something that no other president has ever done before, and that was unite Congress immediately. And in 100 days, Congress passed 15 bills. Do you know how many they usually pass in a year? 3, maybe 7. They passed 15 bills in 100 days. Miraculous. And most of these bills were directed at the stuff that Shaye referenced: relief, recovery, reform. Some of the programs that developed out of the New Deal that still exist today include welfare. FDR was a Democrat, probably the first really influential, game changer Democratic president. And a lot of people became Democrats for the first time after his first presidency because they realized that the Democratic Party could do some good. So when we think of the Democratic Party, one of the things that people always associate it with liberalism, right? Like you say, oh, those damn liberals, they want to put rainbows on their front porches and, kill babies and stuff, right?
Damn liberals.
Okay, but the thing is, Democrats have a lot, their agenda, at least during the 1930s, was to provide assistance for the common man. Do you know, and this is something that I find teenagers often don't understand very well, is that Republicans are the Republican Party supports the man. Okay? Republicans historically are rich, entitled, old money families. People who were born into the wealth that they have. Now, do they have to work to keep it?
Yes.
Yes, but they support corporations. You know, one of the biggest Republican contributors in America is Walmart, the largest corporation in America. Guess who the Republican Party doesn't always support? The little man at the bottom of the totem pole, the farmer, the business owner who just owns a small business. Republicans argue for tax breaks for the rich. Democrats argue for tax breaks for the poor. Democrats argue for the Farm Bill, Medicaid, welfare, things that benefit every person in America, not just the people who have money. And part of what comes with that is the Democratic Party, at least in the 1930s, they were dedicated to improving the life of every man, not just the man. Okay, so I feel like, especially out here in middle America, where people are...
Bo and Eli, please come to the office. Bo and Eli, come to the office.
Where we live in a completely red state, right? There's less than 1% of Nebraskans are Democratic. And the same is actually true for South Dakota, North Dakota, Kansas, and Oklahoma. This is and Texas, immensely red states, right? Is that the impression that we have of the Democrats is, like I said, those damn liberals, right? Rainbow flags and abortion, that's what we think of. gay rights and abortion. That's what kind of is equated with Democrats in Middle America. But the truth is, most Middle Americans, any Middle America family who survived the Great Depression would not have made it if it weren't for Democrats. Stop it.